7 years. That's how long Daniel hadn't seen the rolling hills of his old village. 7 years since he left behind muddy lanes, endless rain, and her. Daniel, now a man of success, drives a black Range Rover down the familiar narrow road. London had made him rich, but not happy. The moment he crossed the sign that read, "Welcome to Hillshire," his heart grew heavy. Every tree, every turn, whispered her name. Grace. They once dreamed of a life together, of a little cafe by the river, of a home filled with laughter. But dreams changed when Daniel left for the city. He promised to return. He never did. He tells himself he's here for business, to buy land for his new project. But deep inside, he knows the truth. He's come back for something money can't buy. The road curves toward the old farm. The same wooden fence, the same faded red barn. Only now, the flowers Grace loved are gone. The windows are closed, silent. He steps out of the car, feeling time rewind. The smell of earth, the soft wind, it all feels like home. And heartbreak. An old man passing by with a sack of grain pauses. "Excuse me, sir," Daniel says kindly. "Does Grace still live here?" The man looks up, surprised, then frowns. "Aye, she does, but she's not the same lass anymore." He walks away before Daniel can ask more. Not the same? What did he mean by that? He walks slowly toward the farmhouse and knocks once. Twice. No answer. Then the door creaks open. A small boy peers from behind it. Daniel freezes. The child can't be more than 6 or 7. He has messy brown hair and curious blue eyes. Eyes that feel strangely familiar. The boy stares at Daniel, cautious but curious. "Hello there," Daniel says softly. "Is your mom home?" The boy shakes his head, then runs inside. Daniel steps back, unsure whether to wait or leave. Then he hears footsteps, slow, hesitant and unforgettable. The door opens wider, and a soft light reveals Grace. She stands there in a faded dress and boots covered in mud. Her hair is tied back, her eyes older, quieter, but unmistakably hers. For a long moment, neither speaks. The air between them carries the weight of 7 years. Grace's lips tremble. "Daniel," she whispers, her voice soft, almost disbelieving. He breathes out slowly. "Hello, Grace. It's been a while." She nods, holding the door tight. "What are you doing here?" "I was nearby," he lies. "Thought I'd see how you were." Her eyes flicker toward the car. "You seem to be doing well. London must be treating you kindly." He tries to smile, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "It gave me everything I wanted. Except peace." Grace doesn't invite him in. Instead, she says quietly, "You shouldn't have come back, Daniel." He swallows hard. "Why not?" "Because some things are better left in the past." He remembers the day he left. Grace stood by the gate, begging him to stay. He promised to return soon. She waited for years, until the letters stopped coming. "I need to feed the animals," she says quickly. "Take care, Daniel." Before he can reply, she shuts the door. He feels like a stranger at the doorstep of his own past. Sometimes, success makes you forget where you began. But standing there, Daniel realizes he may have left the village, but his heart never did. He walks slowly back to his car. The rain begins to fall. He looks once more at the farmhouse. Through the window, he sees the boy again, staring back. Those eyes, blue, curious, and identical to his own. His breath catches. A thought hits him like lightning. Could it be? No. Impossible. He drives slowly through the village, passing the old school, the riverbank, the cafe they dreamed of opening together. Everything looks smaller now, emptier. He remembers her voice. "All I want is a simple life, with you." He wanted more, to prove himself, to become someone worthy of her. But in chasing everything, He lost the one thing that mattered. He stops at the bridge and gets out. The rain has stopped. Mist covers the fields. He leans against the railing, eyes distant. "She still loves me," he whispers to himself. "I can feel it." But deep down, a question burns. If she did, why does she look so broken? Daniel drives to the old inn and checks in. The innkeeper, Mrs. Parker, recognizes him immediately. "Well, I'll be Daniel Westwood, the boy who ran off to London." Daniel smiles politely. "Not a boy anymore, Mrs. Parker." She laughs. "No, you're not. But some ghosts don't age, do they?" Later, alone in his room, he sits by the window, staring at the faint light from Grace's farmhouse in the distance. A mix of regret and longing fills his chest. 7 years of business meetings, hotels, and boardrooms. None gave him the calm that one quiet evening with Grace once did. He remembers how she used to hum while cooking, the smell of fresh bread, the way her eyes sparkled when she dreamed about their future. Now, all he has are numbers, properties, and silence. He opens his briefcase and takes out a small wooden box. Inside, an old photograph. Grace in a summer dress sitting on the fence, smiling at him. He traces her face with his thumb and whispers, "I'm sorry, Grace. I should have come back." The next morning, he decides to walk through the village. News of his return has spread. He stops by the old well, lost in thought. Then he hears a small laugh, the same boy from yesterday playing with a wooden toy. Daniel smiles and walks closer. "Hey there, little man. What's your name?" The boy hesitates, then says, "Oliver." Daniel kneels down. "That's a strong name. Do you live with your mom on the farm?" Oliver nods shyly. "She says I shouldn't talk to strangers." Daniel smiles sadly. "She's right. She's a good mum." Just then, Grace appears holding a basket. Her eyes widen as she sees them together. "Oliver! Inside, now!" The boy runs off obediently. She turns to Daniel, clearly upset. "Don't talk to him, please." Daniel nods gently. "I'm sorry, he just looked lost." Her tone softens slightly. "He's fine. He doesn't need anyone." "Grace," he says quietly, "what happened to you? You used to smile all the time." She hesitates. "Life happened, Daniel. That's all." He looks down, unable to meet her eyes. "I never stopped thinking about you." She closes her eyes. "Then why did you never come back?" He doesn't answer. Because he has no answer. Grace whispers, "You made your choice. I made mine." Then she walks away, her footsteps echoing faintly as she disappears behind the farmhouse door. Sometimes the past doesn't fade. It waits, quietly, until you're brave enough to face it again. That night, Daniel sits by his car, staring at the farmhouse lights glowing faintly in the distance. He whispers to himself, "I'll find out what she's hiding, even if it breaks me." 7 years apart, and the distance between them still feels like forever. But one small secret, hiding in plain sight, is about to change both their lives, forever. The next morning came quietly. The rain had stopped, but Daniel's mind hadn't. He hadn't slept all night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Grace's face, and that little boy's blue eyes staring back. He whispered to himself, "Why didn't she tell me?" He checks his watch, 7 a.m. The world outside feels peaceful, but his heart beats in chaos. He told himself he just wanted to talk, just one honest conversation. But deep inside, he wanted something else. Closure, or maybe forgiveness. He hesitates near the gate, staring at the same place where they said goodbye years ago. He remembers her tears that day. "You'll come back, won't you?" she had asked. He had smiled, full of promises he never kept. Grace opens the barn door, startled to see him again. "Daniel, you're here again." Daniel smiles nervously. "Good morning. I thought maybe we could talk." Grace looks uncertain, holding a bucket of feed in her hands. "I don't think that's a good idea." Daniel pleads, "Please, just a few minutes. I won't take long." Grace sighs, then nods slightly. "Fine, make it quick." She sets the bucket down and leans against the fence, keeping her distance. Daniel takes a deep breath. "Grace, I know I don't deserve your time, but I need to understand what happened. Why did you disappear?" Grace avoids his gaze. "I didn't disappear, Daniel." "You did." Her voice trembles slightly but stays firm. "You left, and the letters stopped. After a while, I realized London had changed you." Daniel frowns. "Letters? What letters?" She looks up, surprised. "The ones I sent you, every month for 2 years." "I never got them," he says quietly. "Not a single one." Grace shakes her head. "Don't lie to me. I poured my heart into those letters." Daniel's voice breaks. "Grace, I swear, I didn't receive anything." Grace crosses her arms. "Then what was I supposed to think? You promised to come back, and then—" "Nothing. No call, no message, no word." Grace's voice cracks slightly. "I waited for you, Daniel, every night by the window. For years. Do you know how that feels?" Daniel whispers, "I thought you moved on." Grace laughs bitterly. "Moved on? In this village? With what?" "Memories." Daniel steps closer. "I didn't forget you, Grace. I worked day and night to make a life worthy of you." She looks at him with quiet sadness. "But you forgot what I needed wasn't money." Daniel glances at the farmhouse. "That boy yesterday. Oliver. He's yours." Grace nods slowly. "Yes." He hesitates. "His father—" She interrupts sharply. "Stop. Don't ask questions you're not ready to hear answers for." Daniel takes a slow breath. "Grace, I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want the truth." Grace looks away toward the fields. "The truth doesn't always heal, Daniel. Sometimes it hurts more than lies." He watches her work. The same graceful hands, the same calm rhythm. Life on the farm had hardened her, but her kindness still showed in every small movement. Daniel says softly, "You've done well. It's beautiful here." Grace smiles faintly. "It's quiet. That's all I need." He wants to tell her everything. How he searched for her after his success. How he wrote letters too that came back unopened. But something inside him stops. Maybe fear. Maybe guilt. Oliver runs out of the house laughing, holding a small wooden plane. Grace calls out, "Oliver, careful near the fence." Daniel kneels down, smiling. "That's a fine plane you've got there." Oliver beams. "I made it myself." Daniel's voice softens. "You're clever, just like your mom." Oliver laughs proudly, showing his toy. "Mom says my dad was clever too." Daniel's smile fades slightly. The air thickens. Grace quickly steps forward. "Oliver, go inside, love. Breakfast's ready." The boy runs off again, unaware of the storm his words left behind. Daniel whispers, "Grace, what did he mean?" Grace turns away. "Nothing, just childish talk." But her trembling hands tell another story. Daniel steps closer. "Grace, is he—" She cuts him off, her voice sharp. "Don't, Daniel, please." Her eyes glisten. Some doors shouldn't be opened again. He wanted to push for answers, but something in her tone stopped him. Maybe the truth wasn't ready to be spoken. Not yet. In the afternoon, Daniel walks through the village street. Children play nearby. People greet him kindly, but he barely notices. His mind keeps repeating Oliver's words. He visits the small cafe where an old friend, Liam, is sitting. Liam grins. "Daniel Westwood, the city man returns." Daniel smiles faintly. "It's been a long time, Liam." They sit together over tea. Daniel's eyes are distant. Liam says, "You've seen Grace, haven't you?" Daniel nods slowly. "She's different, sad, and there's a boy." Liam sighs. "Aye, she's been through a lot since you left." Daniel leans forward. What happened? Liam hesitates. Maybe she should be the one to tell you. But he lowers his voice. After your letters stopped coming, her father got sick. She took care of him till the end. Then one day, she stopped talking about you altogether. Daniel frowns. Her father? He never liked me much. Liam nods. He blamed you for her pain, told her you'd forgotten her. Liam looks serious now. But Daniel, there's something else. The old postman, he retired years ago. Before leaving, he told me something strange. He said some letters were never delivered. Daniel's eyes widen. What do you mean? Liam explains. He said Grace's father made him burn a stack of letters, ones she wrote to you. Daniel freezes, the teacup shaking slightly in his hand. The truth hit him like a storm. All those years. Grace's silence wasn't rejection. It was betrayal. From someone else. Daniel stands abruptly, eyes burning with emotion. She thought I left her. Liam nods. Aye, and she believed it with all her heart. He felt anger, sorrow, and hope, all tangled together. For the first time in 7 years, he knew Grace hadn't stopped loving him. She had only been made to believe a lie. That evening, Daniel walks back toward the farmhouse. The sky glows orange. The air feels heavier. Every step he takes is filled with determination and fear of what comes next. Grace is on the porch, folding clothes. She looks up, surprised to see him again. You don't give up easily, do you? Daniel smiles faintly. Not when something still matters. Grace, I know now. Your letters, they never reached me. Your father stopped them. Grace's face goes pale. What? He made the postman burn them, Daniel confirms. Grace's hands drop the cloth she's holding. Her voice trembles. No, that can't be true. Daniel says, I spoke to Liam. He heard it from the postman himself. Grace turns away, tears forming. He said your father wanted to protect you. He thought I wasn't good enough. Grace covers her mouth, sobbing quietly. He destroyed my life trying to save it. Daniel steps closer, his voice soft and broken. I would have come back, Grace. Every single day I wanted to. I thought you moved on. Grace whispers, and I thought you forgot me. For a moment, the years fade away. It's just them again. Two hearts that once beat together, now trembling in the same silence. Grace looks up. Daniel, why now? Why come back after all this time? He pauses. Because I never stopped loving you. Grace looks torn, caught between anger and longing. Love isn't enough anymore. Daniel replies, then let me prove it is. The sun sets behind them, painting the sky in soft orange and gold. For the first time, Grace doesn't walk away. She stands there, her eyes glistening, her heart fighting against the walls she built for years. Grace finally whispers, You can't fix the past, Daniel. He replies softly, Maybe not, but I can start making up for it today. The distance between them has shrunk, but the truth still waits, buried deep in the eyes of a little boy who doesn't know he's the reason their hearts never truly let go. Love, once broken, doesn't die. It just waits for courage to return. The morning was quiet, almost too quiet. Daniel walked slowly along the village path, memories pressing against his chest. 7 years. 7 years of silence, of longing, of imagining what could have been. And now, he knew Grace hadn't been silent by choice. Letters, she sent letters, for 2 whole years, and I never got them. He imagined her writing, day after day, pouring her heart into words that were never read, that were never held. Each envelope a piece of her soul, destroyed before it could reach him. Daniel walked to the old post office building, the air thick with the smell of aged wood and dust. The retired postman, Mr. Hollis, now in his 70s, looked up, surprised. Mr. Westwood, he said slowly, I heard you returned. Daniel nodded. I need to ask about Grace's letters. Mr. Hollis cleared his throat. I was supposed to deliver them, yes, but her father, he asked me not to. Daniel's hands trembled slightly. He stopped them? The old man nodded slowly. He burned them. Every night Grace had written with trembling hands. Words of love, longing, hope, dreams of a life together. And every letter, unseen by Daniel, ended in ash. Daniel's voice quivered. She thought I abandoned her. Yes, Mr. Hollis replied, and she never forgave herself for believing it. For a moment, Daniel felt rage at her father, at fate, at time itself. But beneath it all, there was something else. Relief. Grace hadn't forgotten him. He remembered her son Oliver's blue eyes. And now he understood. Those eyes weren't just hers. They were his. He found Grace in her garden. She looked up, startled to see him again. Daniel, you're here. Yes, he replied softly. I needed to understand. I needed to know why you never came to find me. Grace shook her head. There's a lot you don't know. Daniel stepped closer, his voice calm. Then let me listen. Please. I deserve to know. Grace sighed, turning to face him fully. After you left, I wrote. Every month I sent letters. I told you everything. How much I missed you. How much I hoped you'd come back. Daniel's eyes widened. I never received them. She lowered her head, tears brimming. I know. My father, he made sure you never saw a single one. He thought you weren't good enough for me. Daniel whispered, his face a mask of guilt and sorrow. Grace, I would have come back. I would have. Every day. She shook her head slowly. You think that matters now? He watched her move, so familiar and yet changed. 7 years had left their mark, but beneath the pain, he saw the Grace he loved, the Grace he had never stopped loving. She sat on the bench, her hands clutched. I waited, every single night by the window, imagining you coming home. And every time, disappointment, silence. I blamed myself. I thought, maybe you didn't love me anymore. Daniel knelt beside her, his voice gentle. Grace, it wasn't your fault. I never got them. Not one letter. I thought you had moved on, or forgotten me. Grace looked at him, eyes glistening. And now you come back, and you expect everything to be easy? He nodded slowly. No, I just want to make things right. It was a quiet, fragile peace, the kind that trembles under the weight of years lost. But it was the first step toward something new. Inside the farmhouse, Daniel noticed a stack of old letters tied with a ribbon on a shelf. He picked them up carefully, the paper yellowed and worn. Grace, he whispered. She watched him. Those are all the letters I wrote. Every single one. They never left this house. He opened the top letter, the handwriting careful and trembling. I wanted to tell you about everything. How hard it was, raising Oliver alone, how I never gave up hope. Her words spilled onto the page. Love, sorrow, longing, hope. Each sentence a heartbeat, each paragraph a lifetime of waiting. Daniel's hands trembled, holding the letters. I don't know what to say. I thought I lost you forever. Grace looked down, her voice barely audible. Maybe you did. But now, maybe not. For the first time in years, the walls between them seemed thinner. The silence no longer felt heavy, but expectant, waiting for confession, for forgiveness, for the truth that had always been buried. Daniel sat beside her. Grace, there's something else I need to know. That boy, Oliver, he's mine, isn't he? Grace didn't answer immediately. She bit her lip, hesitated, then nodded slowly. Daniel's hands shook. My son. Grace whispered. Yes, your son. He's always been yours. I didn't know how to tell you. The revelation hit him like a wave. Years lost, words unspoken, love unfulfilled, all converging in this single, fragile moment. With tears in his eyes, Daniel whispered, I don't know what to do. Grace replied, You start by being here. That's all that matters right now. It wasn't closure, not yet, but it was a beginning, a fragile, trembling beginning that could one day heal the wounds of 7 long years. In the evening glow, Daniel picked up a letter and read aloud softly, I still believe in us, even if you never see these words. Grace watched him, a tear falling down her cheek. Daniel folded the letter carefully. I see them now, Grace. Every word. I should have come back. Every day I should have. Grace whispered, It's too late for the past. But maybe we can try again. The truth was out. The letters, the pain, the lost years, all revealed, and yet something fragile and beautiful lingered between them. Hope. Daniel looked at Grace, then at Oliver. I'll stay. I'll be here. I won't leave again. Grace's lips trembled. I want to believe that. The letters were more than paper and ink. They were proof. Proof that love, no matter how long forgotten or hidden, never truly dies. And tonight, for the first time in 7 years, Daniel and Grace dared to hope that the past could finally be made right. Love waits, even in silence. And when the truth finally arrives, hearts have a chance to heal. The sun had barely risen over the farm, but Daniel's heart felt restless. 7 years of questions, 7 years of longing. And now, finally, he was on the verge of answers. He could hear Oliver laughing inside the farmhouse. The sound made his chest ache with a mix of love and fear. How much had he missed? How much had Grace suffered alone? He paused at the door, taking a deep breath. He needed to know everything. No more waiting. No more silence. The door opened and Grace appeared holding a basket of freshly picked vegetables. You're here early, she said. Daniel nodded gently. I couldn't sleep. I need to understand. Everything. She hesitated but allowed him to follow. You should sit, she said softly, her voice uncertain. Daniel sat at the kitchen table, his hands folded, his eyes locked on hers. Grace, he began, his voice low. I know about the letters. I know you tried to reach me and I never received them. I know about Oliver, and that he's mine. Grace closed her eyes briefly, a shiver running through her. Yes, everything you know. It's true. Her emotions were raw as she continued. After you left, I tried to move on. I told myself I would, but every day, I wrote to you. Every letter, every word. Gone. Burned. My father, he said he wanted to protect me, but he didn't protect me at all. He only made me suffer in silence. Daniel's hands shook slightly. And Oliver, I want to know everything about him. How did this happen? Grace's hands trembled as she put down the basket. It was the year after you left. I didn't know how to tell you. I discovered I was pregnant, and I had no one to turn to. My father, he wouldn't let me come to you. So I stayed here. I raised him alone. Every day, every night. I prayed you'd come back, that you'd find us. The words hit Daniel like a physical blow. All these years. I thought I lost you. I thought you moved on. I never knew. I had a son. Tears fell slowly down Grace's cheeks. I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid you wouldn't want to come back. I wanted you to see him someday, when the time was right. Every night she had written, every tear, every sigh captured in ink. Her love never faded. Her hope never died. She raised Oliver with all her strength, but always, always with a part of her heart waiting for Daniel. Back in the present, his hands reached for hers across the kitchen table. Grace, I never stopped loving you. I searched for you. I wrote letters, too. They never reached you. All this time, we were so close, yet so far. Grace's lips trembled. I believed you abandoned me. I believed I wasn't worth waiting for. The weight of 7 years pressed on them, but something fragile began to bloom between the heartbreak and the guilt. Hope. Daniel stood slowly and walked toward the living room, where he saw a little boy playing with wooden toys. Oliver, he whispered. The boy looked up, his eyes curious, shy. Daddy? Daniel froze. His heart exploded. Every lost moment, every missed birthday, every sleepless night, all vanished in that single word. He knelt down, tears blurring his vision. I'm your father. Oliver hesitated for just a moment, then ran straight into his arms. Grace watched from the doorway, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Daniel held Oliver close, whispering softly, I'm so sorry, my son. I never should have left. I never should have missed all this. Grace walked closer, her voice shaking. Daniel, you're here now. That's what matters. The truth, once hidden, had finally emerged, and with it, a chance for healing, a chance for love to return, stronger than before. Grace sat beside them, a fragile family unit forming in the afternoon light. All these years, I didn't know how to move forward, she confessed. But now, you're here. Maybe we can try again. Daniel looked at her, then at the son in his arms, and a gentle smile touched his lips. Yes, we can. Together. The farm, once a place of silence and pain, now hummed with possibility. The son, the mother, and the father. Together again. And though the scars of the past remained, love was beginning to stitch them back into something whole. Later, in the yard, Daniel played with Oliver, their laughter echoing in the golden air. Grace watched them, a soft smile on her face. It was a small moment, but in it was everything. Laughter, forgiveness, hope. The world felt brighter when hearts are reunited. Walking together, her hand found his. I was so afraid of being hurt again, Grace admitted. And I was afraid I'd never have the chance to make it right, Daniel replied. 7 years of longing, letters destroyed, and suffocating silence finally gave way to this: truth, love, and a family reborn. As evening stretched its long shadows across the fields, the farm, once empty and quiet, held the sound of life. Hearts beating together as they always should have. The past, finally faced, was no longer a chain, but a bridge to a new beginning. They sat on the porch as Oliver slept nearby. We can't undo the past, Daniel said quietly, but we can start again. Today. Right now. Grace nodded, a real smile forming at last. Yes, together. The truth was revealed. Pain, hope, longing, and love, all intertwined. And in that revelation, a future began. One built not on words lost, but on hearts reunited. Sometimes love hides behind silence. Sometimes the truth waits patiently. But when hearts are brave enough to face it, love always finds its way back home. The letters were only the beginning. The real journey of love, forgiveness, and family is just about to unfold. The morning sun kissed the farmhouse, casting golden light across the fields. Daniel stood at the edge of the yard, watching Oliver chase a stray dog, his laughter spilling into the crisp air. 7 years of longing, of heartbreak, of silence, and now, finally, he had a choice. Every step he took toward the garden where Grace was tending to her plants felt heavy, yet hopeful. His heart ached for the years lost, but it beat stronger with the knowledge that love still lived between them. He took a deep breath, the country air filling his lungs, a stark contrast to the smog of London he had grown accustomed to. Grace, I've been thinking about us, about Oliver, about everything. She paused her work, her hands still in the soil, and looked at him with cautious eyes. Her expression was a mixture of hope and weariness, a story of 7 long years etched into her features. "And? I don't want to leave again," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "I want to be here. For him. For you. For us." Her hands trembled slightly as she wiped a bead of sweat from her brow. "Daniel, it won't be that easy. 7 years. So much has changed. We've changed." "I know," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "But I'm ready. I'm ready to learn, to listen, to make up for lost time. Are you?" Nearby, Oliver's laughter echoed across the yard as he played with a set of wooden toys. It was a sound Daniel had only imagined in his loneliest moments. A life he had missed, a son he hadn't held in years. And now he had a chance to be everything he was meant to be. A father, a partner, a family man. Grace stepped closer, her voice soft but firm, cutting through his reverie. "It's not just about you coming back, Daniel. You have to stay. Not for a visit, not just for appearances. You have to be here for real. For Oliver. For us." He nodded, the weight of her words settling in his soul. "I understand. I promise. I won't leave again." The promise felt different this time. It wasn't a desperate plea, but a solemn vow, forged in the fires of regret and a newfound resolve. The weight of past mistakes still lingered in the air between them, a ghost they both acknowledged. But Daniel's heart was certain. He had been given a second chance, a rare and precious gift, and he would not waste it. He turned his attention back to his son, his heart swelling with an emotion so powerful it almost brought him to his knees. He knelt down to Oliver's level, opening his arms. "Come here, son." Without a moment's hesitation, Oliver ran into his embrace. Daniel hugged him tightly, feeling every lost year, every missed birthday, every bedtime story he wasn't there for, all melting away in the warmth of that small body against his. For the first time in years, Daniel saw Grace not as the girl he had left behind, but as the strong, resilient woman who had kept their love alive, even when life had tried its best to extinguish it. He saw the mother who had raised their son with unwavering strength and grace. Tears formed in her eyes, but a soft, hopeful smile played on her lips. He held Oliver at arm's length, his own voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, Oliver. I should have been here. I should have held you every single day." The boy looked up at him with innocent, trusting eyes. "You're here now, Daddy. That's what matters." Daniel chuckled softly, a sound thick with unshed tears. "Yes, my boy. Yes, it does." It wasn't a perfect fairy tale reunion. The path ahead was uncertain. There were scars that hadn't faded, words that still needed to be said, and forgiveness that needed to be earned, not just given. But in that moment, as the three of them stood in the golden light of the farm, there was hope. And sometimes, hope is a force stronger than perfection. Later, inside the cozy farmhouse kitchen, Grace watched him, a hint of amusement in her eyes. "You really think you can handle farm life after all those years in London? Waking up at dawn, mending fences, dealing with stubborn animals?" Daniel smiled wryly as he awkwardly tried to peel a potato. "I'll learn. I'll try. For you. For Oliver. For us." Grace let out a soft laugh, a light, warm sound that felt like coming home. "You'd better. There's no room for failure here, city boy." The playful jab held no malice, only the comfortable teasing of two people rediscovering their rhythm. Their gazes fell upon a dusty box of old photos and letters on a shelf. Together, they sat down and began to sift through the memories. They looked at the letters he had written, the ones she thought were lost forever, and read each word aloud. Tears, laughter, and whispered confessions filled the quiet room. The letters, once a symbol of their broken connection, now became a bridge to healing, each sentence a stone laid on the path back to each other. Daniel picked up one stained, tear-marked letter and read a line that caught in his throat. "I still believe in us, even if you never see these words." Grace smiled faintly, her hand finding his. "You see them now." "Yes," he whispered, turning his hand to entwine his fingers with hers. "And I see you. I see every single word, every feeling, every lonely night." Later that evening, he stood in the doorway of Oliver's room, watching him sleep. The boy, so blissfully unaware of the storms his parents had weathered, slept peacefully in his bed. For the first time in his young life, his family felt complete, whole. Daniel turned to Grace, who had come to stand beside him. He whispered, so as not to wake their son, "We can't change the past, but we can create the future. Together." She nodded, her voice just as soft. "Yes, together." The farmhouse, once a place of silence and profound longing, now hummed with a newfound warmth. Every shared laugh, every gentle touch, every word spoken with honesty and vulnerability, slowly began to stitch the deep wounds of 7 lost years. They sat on the porch swing as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Their hands were entwined, a simple gesture that spoke volumes. "Do you really mean it?" Grace asked quietly, her head resting on his shoulder. "No more leaving?" Daniel smiled, gently squeezing her hand, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I swear, I'm here, I'm staying, always." And so, after years apart, the walls of silence and misunderstanding finally crumbled. The truth, once it was allowed to surface, made room for love, for forgiveness, for a family to be reborn from the ashes of its past. They had choices to make, and the hardest one was to trust again. But they were learning that when hearts are brave enough to open, even the deepest wounds can eventually heal. Laughter began to replace tears. Smiles replaced the long, heavy silences. And in the simple joy of lifting Oliver onto his shoulders and hearing his delighted shrieks, Daniel realized something profound. He had never truly left. A part of his heart had always been here, on this farm, with this woman and this boy, just waiting for him to find his way back. Love had waited. The letters, the pain, the years lost. It had all led them to this, a second chance, a family reunited, and a future that was, for the first time, filled with boundless hope. Sometimes the hardest journey we ever take is the one back to the heart. It's a path often riddled with obstacles and regret. But when love is patient, when hearts are brave, it always, always finds its way home. After all those years apart, the truth revealed more than just pain. It revealed that a love that waits, a love that endures, never truly fades, and 2 hearts that are truly meant to be together will always find their way back.